We begin this bulletin with breaking news coming in. Parliament's Standing Committee on Finance has adopted an amended form of the Financial Intelligence Centre Amendment Bill, which addresses the concerns of President Jacob Zuma. Zuma had sent the bill back to Parliament in November, owing to concerns about the constitutionality of the clauses that deal with the warrantless searches. The committee focused its attention strictly to this question, introducing tighter conditions on the circumstances in which warrantless searches could be conducted. The amended bill, will now be sent to the National Assembly for consideration. The debate in the National Assembly will also be strictly limited to the concerns raised by the President. If approved by the National Assembly, the bill will be referred to Zuma, who can either sign the bill into law or refer it back to the Constitutional Court if he is still concerned about the amended facts. Joining us on the phone line for reaction is Mr. David Mania, DA Shadow Minister of Finance. Mr. Mania, very good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us. Your reactions with the amended bill that has been adopted by the committee?
Well, we're very pleased that the bill has now been adopted. It tightens up the discretion of inspectors of the FIC and various supervisory bodies. And the document will now be sent to the House for its consent, and then will be referred back to the President.
Are you confident that the issues of the warrantless searches that had been raised, not just by President Jacob Zuma, but by other members of the community, have been adequately addressed?
Well, as you pointed out, the reservations are focused on the whole question of warrantless searches. We took advice from senior counsel, and we were advised that the bill, or the amended bill, in fact was constitutional, but that there would be no harm in tightening up the provisions and limiting the discretion of inspectors. And so we acted on that advice, and the amending bill significantly tightens up and limits the discretion of inspectors. So, for example, if they wanted to inspect a private residence, they could only do so with consent or with the prior authority of the director or senior manager of a supervisory body, and then only if they believed they would get a warrant and the search would delay or interfere with their purpose of the search, for the search, I beg your pardon. And then we go even further than that and say that if an inspector conducts an inspection with or without a warrant, there's a good conduct clause, and that search must be done at a reasonable time with due regard to a person's dignity, and must be confined, obviously, to the suspected area of non-compliance. So we've significantly tightened up the amendment bill, and I think the President will sign it into law when it passes the National Assembly.
Yeah, Mr. Mania, thank you for your time on African News Network. David Mania, there, DA Shadow Minister of Finance, weighing in on the breaking news that the committee has adopted a bill and it will be sent to Parliament for approval. For more reactions, joining us on the phone line now is Mr. Tsepo Khadima, is a political analyst. Mr. Khadima, thank you for joining us. I understand you're aware of the breaking news. The Parliament Standing Committee on Finance adopts the amended form of the Fica bill. Your reaction to that?
Yes, I think the posture that has been adopted by the Standing Committee on Finance is nothing short of shocking. If you can have members of Parliament who have taken an oath of office to uphold and be loyal to the Constitution, themselves empowered to make laws, that they will go and make a law that is unconstitutional, that is nothing short of a horror movie. But we must also bear in mind that the President's lawyers bungled up this matter in a shockingly bad way. That they only sent one aspect to Parliament when their press statement had mentioned that there were other constitutional provisions which were being violated by the bill, that the Parliament had to consider those. So we found that the President's lawyers and the communication, they have not come out clean in this matter, and they owe it to the South African nation to explain why, having duly received various representations on the unconstitutionality of the bill, that they disregarded those in their letter to Parliament and only exclusively limited themselves to the so-called warrantless searches, which, by the way, that provision has got nothing to do with the citizens, but has everything to do with what they call the accountable institutions in terms of the Fica bill. So the long and short of it is this. As much as the standing committee can say that they unanimously voted, I cannot see how any member of parliament who's worth their salt will stand up and say that indeed they agree with a bill that violates the constitution of the country on more than 16 occasions. That certainly cannot hold, and I cannot see any court of law in South Africa that will agree to a bill being passed into law that violates the constitution. So it means, very simply, we have a constitutional crisis in South Africa. The question is that, well, where to from here for the citizens? And as has been said before by other commentators, I think the Progressive Professionals Forums have said, all those that are in business and at any point in time have ever donated any money to the African National Congress or to the Economic Freedom Fighters or any of those political parties that have got a rhetoric of economic transformation, beware. Any money you donate henceforth, your account is going to be closed and you will find no remedy, no relief at all from the same parliament or from the same party that you would have donated to. So effectively, we're going to see the major political parties going bankrupt because there is no sane business person who will donate any money knowing full well that they will be putting themselves in the line of fire.
Mr. Khadima, also objections coming up from opposition parties that the scope of the hearings was limited only to President Zuma's objections, obviously to the warrantless searches. You have raised other issues that may contravene the Constitution. Do you see this being a problem going forward?
Well, the problem is created by the legal advisors to the president, and I don't know what exactly they're going to be advising him now to get out of this complete mess. It is a mess. You've got members of parliament that have now been put in an invidious position whereby they are being told that they can only discuss one aspect on a bill that is unconstitutional. Where we are now, the members of parliament have to remember Section 2 of the Constitution in case they forgot, because it would appear that they have completely forgotten Section 2 of the Constitution, which demands of them that any law or any conduct must be in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution of the Republic, and anyone that is not in concert with the Constitution of the Republic is invalid. So I cannot see how they can really hold up a straight face and maintain that they have a bill that is worthy of being signed into law when it is unconstitutional.